G'day, guys. Tim here from Beat the Reset at Bitcoin 2025 Las Vegas at the most incredible show. To my right, of course, I've got the Baron of Bitcoin. What he doesn't know about Bitcoin, you could actually write on the back of a postage stamp. And on my left, we have a guest today who has caught up with Beat the Reset. This is Steve Brown from Ottawa in Canada. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you on. Steve and I have been trying to connect this whole show, but everybody's going everywhere. Don't you find? We've got people
We've decentralized.
We've decentralized. We've spawned in from all over the place. We've spawned out. I went to grab coffee. Steve went to the toilet. Bish went over there and did something. Sammy's lost in action. Who knows where Voldemort is? And it's so to catch up with everybody at the show has been really challenging. I've got to be told, but finally we caught up with Steve. Now, first of all, really what I brought Steve on is he's been a long time follower of Beat the Reset, and he's put a lot of people in contact with the channel. But I wanted to get your views, Steve, on your experiences now. You come into this in commodities, gold and silver. You're obviously learning about Bitcoin like the rest of us. So tell us about your experience at the show and somewhere in there, tell us a little bit about your view on Bitcoin before you came to the show and kind of now you've been to the show. Over to you.
Yeah. So I want to thank you guys for putting on this. This is fantastic. Like I said, I've been a follower of you guys for a couple of years now. Tim, it's been wonderful in terms of with everything that you've sent to me out there in Canada as well. And I passed it on to all my friends. I was I'm big bullish on Beat the Reset, number one. So I'm very happy to meet you guys in person. Here at the show, I'm not a Bitcoiner, so I just wanted to immerse myself in this atmosphere and find out what the heck is the buzz about Bitcoin. The Baron is over here, and I've listened to him talk about it so much. But now, being at the show, I have a much better understanding of how powerful Bitcoin is and where it's going. And I kind of feel like I'm at the beginning stages where Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were making computers. That's where I kind of feel Bitcoin is right now. Like it's just going to take off even more. We had someone here that was the mayor of Panama City who's looking to adopt Bitcoin as their reserve currency, which is huge. We had the U.S. Vice President here. We had the Securities Commissioner here this morning as well speaking. It's I have the realization now, I guess, before I was a commodities guy, looking at gold and silver as being like my main holdings. But now I'm moving over to a little bit of the Baron over here.
My man.
In terms of increasing my percentage of Bitcoin, I just see the potential. It's the future of money is what, in my humble opinion, and I don't know that much, but I can really see like Bitcoin's power in the future. And everyone's going to be exposed to it. Everyone's going to be using it. It's what I believe. It's what everyone here is believing. It's got a huge buzz, and it can only go up from here.
100%.
Would you like to work at Stormbreak? That was an excellent, succinct summary. Like, that was epic. Dude.
Well, this is an online interview. I forgot to tell him.
Yeah.
So now
you pay? Bitcoin, I hope.
I pay Bitcoin for sure.
yeah. All right. Now, Bish.
Yes, sir.
Something Steve mentioned is critical to our audience. And I felt the same. I want to share the same sentiment. Before I came to this show, I was kind of okay with Bitcoin. I mean, I know you push us pretty hard for it.
I do say you're not bullish enough.
But you know what I realize it is?
Yes.
Steve just nailed it. Education.
Yeah.
Understanding the asset. You come here and we walked in and just went, wow. Like I had no idea that Bitcoin was this big. I mean, I know it's big because I educate people on it. But I just want you to talk about this for a second because knowledge is really the reason people don't get into Bitcoin. It's the number one reason.
Yeah.
Over to you.
I mean, look, I shared this quote with you recently where Bitcoin is everything that people don't know about money combined with everything that people don't understand about technology.
Yes.
So we have to educate people on a number of topics just to get them to a point where they have a sufficient level of understanding of what Bitcoin is as both money and as a technology. So we have to educate on finance, economics, history, how inflation works. There's a lot of things that need to be digested. And then once that's understood, then you have to build the the understanding of how technology works, how it's distributed, how the mining secures the network, how it just can't be switched off because, I get this a lot when somebody switches off the internet. That's not how it works. So that's a lot to take in for people. But I've always said, keep it really simple. When you go to drive a car, you don't need to understand how the combustion engine works to be able to put it in reverse, put it into gear and start moving from point A to point B. That's the same thing with Bitcoin. You don't need to understand all of its internal mechanics to make use of it as an asset. You've got a phone. I've got a phone. I can send you Bitcoin. Job's done. No one was involved. No intermediaries, no counterparties, zero permission. Go try to withdraw $5,000 from your bank. Go try to withdraw $10,000 cash from your bank. You have to jump through hoops. You have to make it an appointment. They're going to ask you questions. This is amazing. No questions, no permission required. Simply act on your own volition, and you're free to transact however you see fit. And that, my friends, is financial privacy and financial liberty in a nutshell. And you can't put a price on that.
Now, the audience has heard you say you were going to send me Bitcoin. When am I going to receive that, actually, Bish?
That is a good question. So you got to give me your Bitcoin wallet address first, and then as soon as the wallet
Always a catch. Always a catch.
Come on, mate. I need at least a bit of information, a public wallet address, and then I'll send it across.
All right. Well, Steve, I've got another question for you. I mean, you came to this show as a silver Bitcoin maxi. Silver gold maxi. Can you see yourself adjusting your portfolio to accommodate more Bitcoin now that you've seen and spoken to some of the people here?
Yes. Yeah, I really do see the power of Bitcoin. One of the things that I learned here was that you can actually lend against. So one of the things is a lot of people buying Bitcoin and no one wants to sell their Bitcoin.
Yes.
They don't want to use it. So they're getting banks or financial institutions or businesses being set up where they'll lend you money against your Bitcoin so that you don't have to sell your Bitcoin. You can just use their money or their cash or their stable coins. That's how I took it in terms of that. So that's really interesting as well. But yeah, totally. When you're down here and you're in it and you just see everyone and you talk to everyone, it's like, wow, it's so powerful. It's the future of currency, the future of finance. There's a lot of big players behind the scenes that are buying up a lot of Bitcoin and things like that. And they're even talking about countries, if they're getting the reserves on, that's where I kind of lean it towards almost like a digital gold, where the countries are buying up enough to have a reserve. And I think we're waiting here to see if Trump's going to do that for the US. I could be wrong.
That's already been signed into effect. So there's already, in March of this year, there was an executive order that was signed for a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah.
What hasn't happened yet is they haven't added to it. So currently the reserve was formed based on seized Bitcoins that they acquired through criminal cases from the Department of Justice. So there's about nearly 200,000 Bitcoin in there. What we're anticipating is that within the next few years is that there will be additional purchases being made. And I believe that will actually occur through the treasury market. Or the credit market, because unfortunately the US government is broke. They've got a $37 trillion debt and no way to finance that debt unless they actually go through Bitcoin. That's what they were talking about yesterday, which is that they're going to grow nominal GDP and they're going to grow the assets on their balance sheet to minimize their debt to GDP ratio. And that's how they're going to put the US back on track from a financial standpoint.
Excellent. So yeah, it's powerful stuff. It's governments are in on Bitcoin. They're using it. So I like to kind of do what the governments are doing, the globalists to a certain extent. And Bitcoin is definitely very bullish on Bitcoin. I don't know if I'm as bullish as the Baron over here, but now I'm
Michael Saylor, man.
I've got
I don't even think Sailor is. So, just for the Australian audience, can you just give us a bit of an insight into? You're from Ottawa, Canada.
Yep.
What is it
Love
like?
the Aussies. We love you guys.
What is
country.
the Canadians, Commonwealth brothers?
Come over to Whistler. You guys always come skiing over at Whistler all the time.
What is it like? What does the general feel like? The economy or this general, state of play in Ottawa. From on the ground. What is the government like? What is the your dollar like? What is inflation like? What is it like to live there?
Hell on earth.
So like Victoria. That's exactly the same.
We're right in the the belly of the beast in Ottawa with all the politicians around and whatnot. So
Wow.
it's I don't get me wrong, I love Ottawa, I love Canada. Just in terms of what's happened with the government in terms of the last 4 years, it's tyranny at its best. It's really put a lot of people down. A lot of people are hurt. A lot of people are, I call it, they're going camping. They're losing their homes, they're selling their homes.
Wow.
They're either out on the street. The families are in RVs and parks and things like that. Not so much in terms of like Ottawa, but around Canada. It's not a good scenario to be in, and I just shake my head at the people at the top. They have no integrity. They're just doing it for themselves. They're not in it for the people. They're really just, I want to say, raping the country of all its resources and giving it to the corporations for the most part. And, I look at Bitcoin, one of the side things with Bitcoin and why it was invented, I could be wrong, but it was for freedom and sovereignty. And that's what I'm big on in terms of being separate from the governments, being your own individual country, so to speak, your own family. You have to look after your own family. You have to protect them financially, health-wise. And I look to you guys for a lot of my financial information. And I appreciate that over the years. I appreciate the talks that we've had, Tim and I. I think when he first responded to me, I was like, oh, he responded to me. Thank you. Like, I'm a person. Usually people don't respond to me. But no, you did. And we've had a great chat for the last few years. And I owe you drinks. I owe you dinner.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to cash in. What are you going to come to Vegas for?
So no, but yeah, I think looking at you guys and seeing the hope that people have here in terms with Bitcoin, if I was the Prime Minister of Canada or Australia, I would switch my Canadian dollars to the reserve to Bitcoin tomorrow if I could.
Yeah.
I think that would give so much more people hope as opposed to our dollar is dropping every single day. Inflation is rising. To go into the grocery store, you're taking $500 now to go get groceries for like the week for your family. It's crazy. Where it used to be only like 200 before. So anyway, it's not a good scenario. I don't think it's going to get better, especially with our government. It's the same government in power right now. I don't believe a lot in governments, to say the least. I trust more independent people and independent advice, and working myself independently from what they're doing and going from there.
Yep. Fantastic. Bish, any comments?
I mean, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear that the Canadians are going through what us Australians are going through as well. It seems to be a Commonwealth theme here.
Common.
Yeah.
They have Commonwealth and common debt. Common debt. So don't call it common debt because it sounds like something else. If you
Correct.
say common debt.
That's right.
There, you can't use that word.
But Nigel Farage was just recently speaking. He said that if he was to be elected in the UK, he would form a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He would also remove the debanking that's been going on. So this is a really rough go of it at the moment that Australians, Canadians, the British, a lot of the Western developed world is going through at the moment, which is the banks are deciding how, what, when, where, and why you can spend your dollars. You add on top of the fact that you're dealing with rampant inflation, you're dealing with the whipsaw of the interest rate markets so that they, either build you up and then they wipe you out. It's not a really good position to put yourselves in. And that's why I continuously advocate for a strong Bitcoin position, because you remove yourself from the banks, you remove yourself from the government, and you become an independent individual who is the master of their own finances. And that's a very great position to put yourself in, or an excellent position to put yourself in for you and your family.
Yeah, family. Now, there's a powerful word, right? That is the big word. I'm glad you said that. I was driving in there. Bitcoin, family, protect.
Yeah.
They go together.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed?
Yeah.
Gold and silver also the same. And we had this conversation with Peter Schiff yesterday.
That was a fantastic conversation.
Great conversation. Where Peter Schiff, I personally, just to share my view here, where he got it right, gold, silver, yes, store of value. Where I think he's missing the point is that Bitcoin have that, but they have portability, the major portability. It's so easy to move it so quickly.
Yes.
That you cannot do with gold and silver. So in some ways, they are monetary plus, like monetary version 2.
Yes.
I'm not saying gold and silver are not monetary. Absolutely they are.
Yes.
But it just has something else. I don't know. And you seem to have picked up on that from being here.
Yeah.
That Bitcoin has all these other uses. And look at the buzz, 30,000 people. I went to the Money Show in Berlin. And I can't remember how many people were there, but there were not 30,000 people in Berlin. And they didn't have this kind of vibe. You know, there was a very different feel. This is the future. It feels like the future. It's been set up as the future.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
I feel it. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I never knew it before, but now being here and listening to the people speak, for me, it's the future of finance. It's the future of currency. It's, to get in now.
I have to confess, guys, I'm actually from the future. I'm from the year 2050. I have come back in time in 2025.
You've got a Stargate.
I've told you guys to come and buy Bitcoin from the future, because in the future, in 2050, Bitcoin's trading at $10 million a coin. And I'm here to make everybody wealthy and liberate them from the shackles of the fiat currency system. So, I just thought I'd just disclose that now.
How did you get back from the future without a digital ID, Bish? What's going on there? Because you would have surely had it revoked by now.
I use the DeLorean.
The DeLorean. I know a guy who knows about DeLoreans, but if only he was here to hear this conversation. All right, so we'll wind it up, but I just wanted to introduce the audience to our beautiful friend Steve from Ottawa in Canada. Long time follower of the channel, long time investor in gold, silver, and now Bitcoin. And he was asking us before we jumped on the live here, how should I diversify if I had 100,000 US or 100,000 Canadian?
100,000 Canadian is about like
$10
US.
So more than the offer.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Actually,
This is $5.
It's so funny because I feel your pain. Like I genuinely feel your pain. Like I look
It's
at
the same pain.
It's the same pain.
Oh no, it's a lot worse. Guys, got to share this with you because we went to this Italian restaurant last night, just over here, and I went to pay, and they were Mexican. The people serving us were Mexicans.
Yeah.
And I said to them, I said, I'll pay. And I pulled out these Aussie dollars, and she said, "Oh, what are they?" And I said, "Oh, they're Australian dollars." And she goes, "It looks like," that's my best Mexican.
Yeah.
"It looks a lot like the peso." And I said, "It's funny you say that.
Italian Mexican.
It actually acts just like the peso. It's very similar." Anyway,
It's called the Pacific Peso for a
the
reason.
Pacific peso, it has as much value as the Mexican peso. All right. Well, look, is there any final comments, gentlemen? Do you want to make any final comments for the BTR audience?
You were about to wrap up about his $100,000.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So I've really, for me at BTR, I still love a secure position, but I also love the volatility of Bitcoin. Me personally, right now, the portfolio is looking more like a 60% Bitcoin portfolio. Sort of 60, 30, 10, 60% Bitcoin, 30% silver, 10% gold. So that is the sort of ultimate portfolio. You can mix that up a little bit more. You can go bullish if you want, but that's where I would start most investors. 60% Bitcoin, 30% silver, and 10% gold, maybe a little bit of platinum in there. Anyway, that's me. Some final thoughts just before we jump off here. Any final thoughts, Steve?
Tim, I just want to say thank you for all you do. And thank you for the Baron of
Let's have a big bro hug here,
big
boys.
bro hug.
There's the lads.
From Canada, we say thank you. Keep up the great work, guys.
Yep, we've got the Canadian peso, the Australian peso.
Yeah, definitely. It's really great. We love seeing the feeds and everything. So
And now you're on the feed.
now I'm on the
You
feed.
got on there.
Yes,
The dream come true.
There you go. Bish, over to you, sir.
Look, Steve, it's an absolute pleasure to meet yourself, sir. So thank you for joining us today. And look, for myself, I'm just so happy to be here with my bros, with my team, and being able to just experience this. And, I think that the next few years are going to be incredibly bullish. There will be swings and roundabouts. There will be ups and downs along the way, but it's the journey that I'm in it for, not the final destination. Because I know in my mind, Bitcoin at $1 million is already set. $1 million US, it's already set. It's just about what we do and what we experience along the way to that end destination. That's what I'm looking for.
Here. All right. Well, that's it for me. The guy in the hat for Beat the Reset here. On day 2, the final day of Bitcoin 2025, it was the reason that we traveled halfway around the planet to get to Las Vegas. The place is out of control, by the way.
Yeah.
Basically, Las Vegas, if you've got cash, you can do anything you like, basically. That's it. If you haven't got cash, well, if you have got cash, you won't have any by the time you leave, I can tell you right now. And we've struggled with the peso. Don't worry about that. The peso got us almost. I bought like 2 donuts yesterday, cost me 7,000 Australian dollars. All right. So that's it for me. Go in the hat, winding up. And of course, as always, look after your family. Get ready for this because we're going to call on you to start this one. We're going to say, so look after your health, look after your wealth. And as always,
Make good choices.
all right, hang on a minute. We
sorry.
need just one word, mate.
Oh,
You're going to be mate. All right, here we go. This is live. You ready?
Yeah.
As always,
Make
good.
Choices.
Make good choices, everybody. See you soon.